Hey there everybody, this is Ray Carsillo, and I'm coming to you with the first ever edition of From My Mother's Basement. The reason why, of course, it's titled that is that being a geek, this is actually coming from my mother's basement. This is where my room is in the house, and you can see the video games in the background and some Star Wars stuff. But I'm also going to come here with you every week, hopefully with Lumberg.me, with some geek updates. Robin had come up with the idea about a month ago, is that because sometimes it takes me a long time to put together a lot of things to write, that maybe it would just be better if I do what he does and put together maybe a weekly video highlighting some things going on in the geek world. And I kind of just brushed him off. Then I met with Mandy Statmiller of the New York Post. You can check her out at Mandy, M-A-N-D-Y, Statmiller, STADTMILLER.com. You can see some of her stuff. It's very funny. And she said, hey, maybe you should do something from your mother's basement. It might be pretty funny. Might get it on YouTube and actually do something with it. And, well, I'm a lot more apt to listen to a hot, gorgeous blonde than to Robin Lumberg. So I'm sorry, Robin, and, Mandy, you're hot. Anyways, so that's pretty much what we're going to be trying to do here every week. And so the first thing I'm going to do is with random notes. Now, there's a lot going on in the geek world, so I'm just kind of like a news and notes things that's just going to run down for you. The first thing is that Rock Band 2 has some new DLC songs coming out. Now, of course, Rock Band 2 is basically so popular because every couple of weeks they got more bands, more songs come from the popular bands constantly coming out that you can play. This week, though, an interesting combination. You have Slipknot, which I can understand, hard, good for the metalheads and all that other stuff, and Simon and Garfunkel. Two opposite ends of the spectrum, to say the least there. A little weird. In other world news, the World Cup, of course, this past Friday had their pot drawings to see who would play who. And you know what? I'm not a really big soccer fan, but I always get pumped up for the World Cup. And I'm always really pumped up whenever there's a sport that has something called a group of death in it. Anything with a group of death should be worth watching. That's still 6 months away, though, but if you're interested, obviously, look it up. You can see who's going to be playing who. The U.S. actually has a pretty good chance of advancing this year. They got a pretty soft group. And then the third thing is that when I went to go meet Mandy, I met an interesting street vendor, and I stopped for a few seconds, and I saw a truck pull up next to us, and had this awesome graffiti. It was actually across the street on the side of it, and as you can see here, of course, that's Cyclops from the X-Men. Of course, done in the 1990s cartoon version. He's looking like he's constipated as he shoots out his laser beams from his his optic blasts. And I just thought that was really, really cool. Speaking of Cyclops, though, smooth transition. We got to do that in the radio, TV, internet world. Speaking of Cyclops, this week's comic book pick of the week is Uncanny X-Men number 518. I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10. Great job from everybody in terms of artwork. Dodson and Dodson, who did the worked on this. And you see here, a lot of it is that Cyclops, Scott Summers, is basically inside Emma Frost's head, who of course is his wife now, and he has to fight against a bunch of different Emma Frost, because what happened in the X-Men world is that there's a guy called the Sentry who's with the Avengers, but he's a schizophrenic. There's a good guy who's the Sentry, and then when he becomes the bad guy, it's called the Void. So Emma, being a good guy now, is trying to help expel the bad guy part from the Sentry, and unfortunately when she did that, some of the Void kind of left a dark psychic residue in her, and she could never leave Diamond form. So what happened is that Scott called up Professor X, called up Psylocke, and was like, yo, I want my wife back. Let's go inside her head, let's screw up some Diamond people, and that's exactly what happened. They start blasting them left and right, and it's pretty interesting, it's pretty good. I don't want to give away any of the spoilers, but it's really well done. Also, as a side underlining plot, Beast is thinking about leaving the X-Men. He's had a couple of moral issues with the stuff that Cyclops has done behind a lot of people's backs. He feels this is kind of karma retribution, what's going on with Emma for him, so he might be leaving the X-Men, so you're going to probably want to pick that up next month. If you haven't been following the X-Men, if you haven't been following the Marvel Universe, it might be a little difficult for you to just jump right into it, but this is a good issue. If you have, definitely a must pick up. Moving on now from comic books, we move into the world of video games, which of course is what I'm best known as, and of course my game of the week this week, Assassin's Creed 2. Alright folks, this game is awesome. 9 out of 10, hands down. They fixed a lot of the monotony from the first game. The graphics have been upgraded. There's a new free-flow fighting combat system where you can rip enemies' weapons away from them. You can use different all kinds of weapons, from long staffs to, of course, the hidden blades. Now you have 2 of them now from the last game. You got smoke bombs, poison darts, bullets, guns, the whole deal. So the free-flow fighting system, really a huge, huge upgrade and a great job from them. So definitely Assassin's Creed 2 is a must pick up. It's out for PS3 now and Xbox 360. Of course, I picked it up for Xbox 360 because I'm addicted to my gamer score because I'm a hardcore geek. That's what we do. I mean, and even now, as you can see here, I got my comic book shirt on. I'm ready to go. Going to probably dive into some more comics right after this. If you want to see some more stuff from Assassin's Creed 2, though, check out my internet television show over at ubatv.com. That's ubatv.com. And go to the Uba's Vault section down at the bottom of the page and look up the video games, and you'll see my show, Pwned, where we give a full, complete, in-depth review of Assassin's Creed. We go into it. I show you some footage. It's a lot better than looking at my face for 5 minutes, but if you have, I appreciate it. And of course, as always, you can. Hopefully, this will be an ongoing weekly thing on Lumberg.me. And be sure before you go to Uba and before you go to check out Mandy's stuff, obviously keep putzing around and see what the heck Robin is up to on his site. It is his site after all.